Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now here I am with my retro SummerSlam review for this year. And so I decided that this year for my retro SummerSlam review, I would make a review for SummerSlam 2009. Yeah, so there were actually quite a few SummerSlams I was actually considering to review this year. Like I just really was like debating on which one to really talk about because there were like quite a few that I did want to talk about. But yeah, I decided to go with this one because the other SummerSlams that I was like considering to review, they were really not very good shows. And after already watching Bash at the Beach 1995 and how bad that show was, I figured would like to watch a good SummerSlam this my retro SummerSlam review. So yeah, so I decided that I would I decided to go with this one. Yeah. So yeah, so this SummerSlam, I know that this SummerSlam, like it was kind of a bittersweet SummerSlam for quite a lot of people. Yeah, it's not really bittersweet because of like the actual quality of the show, but yeah, the reason that like this SummerSlam like seemed to be like really bittersweet for a lot of people was because like of course this was the year that WWE did actually change the SummerSlam logo. They changed it from like the blue and green S's with like with us it's saying SummerSlam at the bottom or at the top. Yeah, that this was the year they changed it from that famous SummerSlam logo to this the new SummerSlam logo with like it was like it was like the one with like the stars and like it was like a black, red, and yellow. Yeah, and yeah, of course, like if you clicked on this video, like if you saw the thumbnail, like that was the SummerSlam logo that they had for this show. Like a lot of people, like I really didn't like it either. This SummerSlam logo just like really was not good at all. Like this SummerSlam logo was just like very generic and tacky, and just it seemed like a really big downgrade. And plus, yeah, it really wasn't like it just really didn't really have a lot of creativity to it, and it just looked really generic. The previous SummerSlam logo, like the classic SummerSlam logo, which is so much better, and it that really was like a lot of people's favorite SummerSlam logo, including mine. A lot of people were really like upset that the WWE changed the SummerSlam logo. So this SummerSlam like is infamous for that, have like with that logo change, and it really didn't look good at all. Yeah. So I know that some people, well, a lot of people really are do look at the SummerSlam to be really bittersweet for that. Yeah. But as far as the actual quality of the show goes, like this was actually a pretty good SummerSlam. This really was like the best SummerSlam for this point for the last few years by this point. Because so there were a lot of people that really did say like the few SummerSlams before this were like really like a SummerSlam was really like not really doing so good because the last three SummerSlams prior to this one really were not very that good. SummerSlam 2006 and 2007, like those were just like really terrible SummerSlams. And 2008, like there are some people that do like it. I did review it a few years ago, and I really like him. Really kind of like split down the middle for it because it admittedly really is not that great until the last two matches. Yeah, so it really is just kind of like a middle of the road kind of SummerSlam. Yeah, but this one was actually a pretty good SummerSlam. So this really like did like sort of like redeem SummerSlam after like the struggle that SummerSlam was having for the past few years prior to this one. Yeah, and like I said, this was actually a pretty good show. I mean, you had like a pretty good to great opener. You had like a really great main event. Yeah, you did have like another really good match around like the middle of the show. Yeah, so it's really hard to really consider to say this is really like a bad SummerSlam. I actually do think that this SummerSlam is actually pretty good. Like, not everything is good about this SummerSlam. Like, there are like like a bad match, like here and there on the show, but yeah, there is still like enough good on the show to actually say that this is a good SummerSlam. Yeah, and also of course like this like was the first SummerSlam in LA, and yeah, and of course this was the start of SummerSlam like emanating from Los Angeles for like the next several years. I think it was like up through like 2014 that like they continuously held SummerSlam in Los Angeles. Yeah, they like held SummerSlam in Los Angeles from this SummerSlam all the way through 2014. So yeah, so it was like what a 6 year uh run of like holding SummerSlam in Los Angeles, and yeah, and this is where that run started. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, like I said, this is overall a pretty good SummerSlam. I know that like I said, like there are people that are gonna feel bittersweet about this SummerSlam because of the logo change, but yeah, when you actually do look at the quality of the show, it is actually a pretty good show. Yeah. So yeah, so I really think that people really do need to look past the logo change and actually look at the quality of the show, because yeah, this really is like a good show, and yeah, and it really does is like really like one of the better SummerSlams of the ones that were like from this time. Like I said, like it was an improvement over like the previous three SummerSlams, and yeah, and even like the following ones over like the next few years. It really was, I think, better than a lot of those too. Yeah, up till like probably like 2013, this was probably the best SummerSlam of the ones like from around 2000 between 2006 and 2012. Like this was probably the best one. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, so I just really don't know what else to really say about this. It really was just a really good SummerSlam. All right. So, yeah, so I guess I'll just start talking about the match. All right. So yeah, so the show kicked off with the Intercontinental title on the line. It was Rey Mysterio defending against Dolph Ziggler, and yeah, this was a really, really good to maybe even great match right here. Yeah, where it's like in 2009, Rey Mysterio really was like bringing like some prestige back to the Intercontinental title with like the feuds that he was having with like Chris Jericho and Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, so this was actually a pretty good year for the Intercontinental title. Like there was like some prestige being brought back to it after like how much it was like suffering during like the last several years. Yeah. And this was like a really really good match. I really did enjoy this. Like yeah, I mean it was a really good back and forth match. Like Dolph Ziggler was like really countering a lot of Rey Mysterio's moves throughout the match. Yeah. There was like at one point like early on in the match as Rey Mysterio hit a Hurricane Rana onto Dolph Ziggler to the outside of the ring, and at one point like Dolph Ziggler like accidentally got thrown to the cameraman. Yeah. Now, one part of the match I really liked is how Rey Mysterio was like going bounced off the uh, ropes, like trying to bounce back at Dolph Ziggler, but Dolph Ziggler was able to counter it and like kick Rey Mysterio. Yeah. At one point, Rey Mysterio was attempting another aerial attack, but Dolph Ziggler countered it with a turnbuckle powerbomb. Yeah, yeah, and Dolph Ziggler also ended up like countering a 619 at one point with the leg drop bulldog. Yeah, yeah, and then at one point, Rey Mysterio then did hit the 619 onto Dolph Ziggler and tried to go for a springboard splash, but Dolph Ziggler was able to avoid it. And then it just like went back and forth throughout the entire match, and yeah, and it was like really good. Like I said, I really did like how Dolph Ziggler was really like countering a lot of Rey Mysterio's moves throughout the match. Yeah, then in the end, Dolph Ziggler like was attempting to go after Rey Mysterio from the top rope, but yeah, Rey Mysterio then countered it with a Frankensteiner and was able to pin Dolph Ziggler and retain the title. So this was a really really good to great match. I mean, yeah, like I said, like this is really like an example of like of like the how prestige was really being brought some prestige was being brought back to the Intercontinental title during this time. Like I said, like Rey Mysterio really did have like some really good feuds over the Intercontinental title with both Chris Jericho and Dolph Ziggler here. Yeah. So this was a really, really good to great match, and yeah, really did enjoy it. Just a really awesome opener. So I would probably give that around like 4 stars. Really, just a really, really good to great match. So yeah, you should check this match out if you haven't seen it before. Yeah. Yeah. And then next up, then we had just kind of a filler match on the show. It was Jack Swagger versus MVP. And yeah, and this match really was really nothing. I mean, this match really just was a filler match on the show. Oh, to just kind of just kill some time on the pay-per-view. Who, yeah, and there really wasn't a story for this match. Like, it was just there to just really just fill up some time, yeah. And yeah, nothing special really happened for this match. Like, it just was just kind of back and forth. Guys were just like applying like their holds and like getting some big moves in throughout the match, and then eventually then MVP then hit the big boot on Jack Swagger, and then the playmaker, and MVP got the win. So yeah, there was nothing really special about this match. It was just kind of there for filler. So I would probably give that around like a 2 stars. Yeah, yeah. Then next up, then we had the Unified Tag Team Championship on the line. It was Chris Jericho and the Big Show defending against Time. And yeah, and overall, I think this was a solid match overall. I mean, yeah, not really one of the better matches on the show. Well, but yeah, it was still overall solid. Yeah, yeah, it went up like back and forth, and yeah, at one point, like GTG was gaining some advantage on Chris Jericho, but then eventually Big Show came in and started dominating. Yeah, and it really just did kind of go back and forth. Or with a Big Show that did get in some like a big moves at a couple points in this match. Like at one point, the Big Show hit a spear onto Shad, and then Chris Jericho then at one point then had the Walls of Jericho in on JTG, but then as JTG ended up getting to the ropes, as like the referee like got Chris Jericho off of him, then the Big Show then like, nailed JTG with the knockout punch, and then that allowed Chris Jericho to pin JTG and get the win. So Big Show and Jericho retained the unified tag team titles. Yeah. So overall, I do think that this was overall a solid tag match. So I would probably give that around. I guess I would give it like 3 stars. Yeah, yeah. And then next up, then we had Kane versus the Great Khali. Yeah, and this wasn't good. I mean, you remember the match that they had at WrestleMania 23 2 years earlier? Yeah, I mean that was a terrible match, and yeah, and this one really wasn't really any better. I mean, this was just like terrible right here. I mean, there was like nothing memorable about this at all. I mean, I mean, the story just was really just lame and pathetic, and yeah, and the match just was like really just yeah, it was nothing. I mean, yeah, this was just kind of like showing like how Khali really just like was pretty much like done at this point. Like, yeah, his knees were just like shot out, and Khali really just had nothing. At this point, I mean, if he even had anything before, like he was already terrible before, but yeah, he was like like especially terrible by this point. Yeah, then yeah, this was terrible. I mean, I don't remember anything about this match. I just remember at one point Kane went after Ranjin Singh, and then as Khali got Kane away from Ranjin Singh, then Kane then like hit a drop kick on Khali's knee, and then hit a flying DDT on the Great Khali, and Kane got the win. So a terrible match, but at least it didn't last too long. It was only about like a 6 minutes. But it was still an awful match. It really was not any better than the WrestleMania 23 match. So I guess I'd probably give that like half a star. Yeah. And then next up, then we get one of the better matches on the show. Yeah. Then the next match, then we had Legacy, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase versus the returning DX. Yeah. So yeah, this was like when Triple H like did reform DX with Shawn Michaels. Yeah, of course, like there was the story like for last couple of the last couple of months before this with like Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase just like costing Triple H like the WWE title, and then just really like cheating him out of matches and stuff. So then yeah, Triple H then tracked down Shawn Michaels after like he'd been like gone since WrestleMania 25, and then yeah, then they reformed DX to go up against Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes here. Yeah, and yeah, and DX's entrance was just awesome. Like they had like a bunch of like guys dressed as soldiers coming out, like firing off guns, and then yeah, then DX came out in a tank. So yeah, DX's entrance was just awesome. Yeah, and this match was like a really good match once again. Yeah, I remember like I was thinking that this really wasn't going to be anything too special. I was thinking that this was just going to be like a 5 minute match just with like a DX really just easily burying Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase here, but that's not what happened. They actually did give us a legitimate match here, and yeah, and it was really good. It really did go back and forth a lot throughout the entire match. Like, of course, DiBiase and Rhodes did use some dirty tactics throughout the match. Like they used some double team moves throughout the match, and was just distracting the referee at points. Yeah, and then then eventually as Shawn Michaels was just getting beaten by the Legacy, then Triple H then just came in and then just attacked Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes. Yeah, and it really just did go back and forth throughout the match. Actually, yeah, at one point, Shawn Michaels actually countered Cody Rhodes attempting the diving elbow drop. Yeah. Then and there was a cool spot where Shawn Michaels then tried to go for the elbow drop, but then Cody Rhodes countered it and hit Shawn Michaels with a crossroads. Yeah, then at one point then Triple H then ended up just pedigreeing Cody Rhodes, and then Ted DiBiase then hit Shawn Michaels with the Dream Street Eat on Triple H. Yeah. Then and as a Triple H and Ted DiBiase then were just fighting outside of the ring. Then eventually Shawn Michaels then hit the Sweet Chin Music on Cody Rhodes and got the pin. So yeah, so DX got the win in this match. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, this really was a really good match right here. Yeah, this was definitely much different than how I was thinking this was going to be. Yeah, it was like a 20-minute match, and yeah, and it was like a really good back and forth tag match. So yeah, so a really good match, and yeah, and a good way to really start this this final run for DX when they both were actually were full time competitors. So, yeah, because of course Shawn Michaels would end up retiring after losing at WrestleMania 26. So yeah, so DX lasted about 6 months after this. Yeah, but yeah, this was a really good match right here. So yeah, so I would give this probably a 3 3/4. Yeah, really good match. Yeah. And then next up, they only had the ECW Championship on the line with Christian defending against William Regal. Yeah. So, you remember what I was talking about before? I think I talked about this in my SummerSlam 2008 review. How, just WWE was just treating ECW title matches just like jokes, giving them such short times. WrestleMania 24, you had that 8-second match with Chavo and Kane. SummerSlam 2008, there was the 30-second ECW title match, yeah. And what do they do here? For the second year in a row at SummerSlam, they just treat the ECW title match as a joke. This match only lasted about 7 seconds as William Regal was getting out of his ring jacket. Christian hit the kill switch on William Regal and pinned him. So, yeah, just why did they keep doing this with ECW title matches on big pay-per-views like this? Just seriously, it's just ridiculous. Did they just feel that they really didn't care about ECW anymore, so they just decided to just like just put the matches on, but literal, but like purposely just treat them as jokes and give them like such short times. So I don't know like what the deal is with that. And yeah, and of course like ECW was coming to an end. Of course like ECW would only last about like another like 5 6 months after this. Yeah. So yeah, so just yeah, this was just a shame. Yeah. So yeah, so obviously I can't rate this. This was only a 7 second match. So yeah, so this isn't gonna get a rating, but yeah, this was just like sad. Yeah, and then afterwards, then yeah, William Regal, Ezekiel Jackson, and Vladimir Kozlov then just beat down Christian. Yeah. So yeah, just ugh, this is just a shame. Yeah. And then the next match. Then next up, then we had the WWE Championship on the line, with Randy Orton defending against John Cena. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Just this match, this is really just an example of how overrated the John Cena Randy Orton rivalry really is. Like, I've been seeing some people say that like this is one of the greatest rivalries of all time and stuff. No, it's not. This is just an overrated rivalry, and it's just as overrated as rivalries like Triple H and Randy Orton. Seriously, these guys have had like such disappointing chemistry historically with each other, and a lot of their matches have been pretty big letdowns, and this is one of them. Seriously, this match just was just what were they thinking with this match? Like the match actually did start off just fine. I mean, it really didn't wasn't really that well paced, but I mean, it was fine. I mean, it wasn't like absolutely terrible. Like like you had like them like just like battling back and forth with each other. Neither one really was gaining an advantage, but then yeah, then Randy Orton then like hit that second rope DDT on John Cena, but yeah, then John Cena then avoided the pun, and then John Cena then went for an FU on Randy Orton, but Randy Orton like was able to counter it. Yeah, and the guys were just kind of like fighting back and forth, and then then it really got to be like really overkill. Then at one point, then Randy Orton then just ended up shoving the referee and ended up getting himself disqualified to just save his title. It's kind of similar to like what happened in their match at No Way Out 2008. But as Randy Orton was trying to leave, then it was then like announced that Vince McMahon was restarted this match, and if Randy Orton got disqualified again, he would lose the title. So yeah, so Randy Orton then got back in the ring, and then the match restarted. And then as they were continuing to go at it, then eventually then Randy Orton then got himself intentionally counted out, hoping to like retain the title like, that way. But then it was restarted again, saying that if Orton got counted out or disqualified, he'd lose the title. Yeah, and then Randy Orton then pinned John Cena with his feet on the ropes. But then another referee came down and told the other referee what happened and restarted the match again. Yeah. Then John Cena then like had Randy Orton in an STFU, but then it showed a fan running in and uh, and assaulting the referee. It was later revealed that this fan was Brett DiBiase. Yeah. And then after the fan got uh, removed from the ring, then Randy Orton then hit an RKO on John Cena and pinned him. So Randy Orton retained the title. So, gosh, I mean, what was the deal with this? Like, why did they like give this match like so many restarts and like have Randy Orton like have these like cheap ways of winning and having the match restart? I mean, I don't know what the deal was. Like, were they? I mean, when they were like booking this match, were they just like did they just like think of like all these ways to end the match, but they didn't know like really like which one to really take, so they just decided to use all of them. I mean, I don't know, but seriously, I mean, just all the restarts of the match were just like absolutely overkill. Like, couldn't you just like do it one way and then just end it? Like, just have Randy Orton get disqualified, have Randy Orton cheat, or do something like that. But don't like keep restarting the match over and over and over again. So yeah, so the booking of this match is really what really just brings it down. I mean, the match like was like already like just kind of average, but yeah, this like booking is really what brings it down even more. So yeah, so this really just like was just such an overkill match, and it really wasn't even that great to begin with. So yeah, so I really him like, I mean, I don't even know what to say about this match, but it wasn't good and just total overkill. It was like they brought in back Vince Russo to book this match. So yeah, this match was just like such a mess. So I would give this like, I don't know, I'd give that match like 2 stars. Yeah. And then we got the main event. Tables, ladders, and chairs match for the World Heavyweight Championship with Jeff Hardy defending against CM Punk. And yeah, and this was a great match right here. Yeah, where it's like the the rivalry between these two was pretty awesome. Like, where it's like it started off with like Jeff Hardy feuding with Edge, and Jeff Hardy won the World Heavyweight title from Edge at Extreme Rules, but then CM Punk then cashed in Money in the Bank and stole the title from Jeff Hardy. So yeah, so it then just transitioned into a feud between CM Punk and Jeff Hardy. Yeah, and they feuded for a few months. Yeah, and then Jeff Hardy then eventually regained the title back the previous month at Night of Champions, and then it led to this. Yeah, and yeah, and this was just such a great match right here. Like CM Punk's title reign, like when he won the World Heavyweight title in '08, like that just wasn't really a good reign for him. Like his title reign was just booked so badly, and he was just like booked as such a weak champion during his reign. Yeah, but yeah, when he won the title this year in 2009, like yeah, this is really like this. Yeah, this was a much better run for him, and yeah, and this was the yeah, this really is what really did make CM Punk like a big star in the company. Like this is actually what made him like a main eventer. Yeah. So yeah, so they did him like actually correct the mistake they made the previous year and actually did give CM Punk like a good run with the title. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and this really was just like such a great match right here. They they made use of like all the weapons, like uses of the tables, the chairs, and the ladders. Like yeah, it was just like so much use of the all 3 weapons, and yeah, and a bunch of great moments with them. Like one point, Jeff Hardy like hit like a sunset power bomb on CM Punk. At one point, Jeff Hardy then like went for a leg lariat period onto CM Punk with a chair, but CM Punk was able to counter it and drop Jeff Hardy onto the chair. At one point, CM Punk actually hit a suicide dive on Jeff Hardy. Yeah, yeah. One point, Jeff Hardy CM Punk was trying to run Jeff Hardy into the steel steps, but Jeff Hardy reversed, and CM Punk actually jumped onto the steps to avoid the collision. But yeah, Jeff Hardy then just like hit CM Punk with a chair as CM Punk was in midair. Yeah, yeah. There were like those multiple points in this match as CM Punk like was trying to like wrap a chair around Jeff Hardy's neck and drive him into like the ring post and stuff, but Jeff Hardy was able to fight it off. Yeah. There was one point as Jeff Hardy like had CM Punk on the table and tried to dive off the top rope, but CM Punk moved out of the way and Jeff Hardy went through the table. Yeah, yeah. And then at one point, Jeff Hardy was trying to like go for the title again, but CM Punk was able to stop him. Yeah, yeah. There was one point as CM Punk like was actually trying to go for the GTS on Jeff Hardy, but Jeff Hardy ended up reversing it and like he had a sunset flip on CM Punk, which was an awesome spot. Yeah. Then at one point, like Jeff Hardy like actually threw CM Punk through a table. Yeah. Yeah. Then at one point, like as Jeff Hardy was trying to climb up the ladders, or once again, CM Punk then leaped off the top rope to stop Jeff Hardy. Yeah. Then and as it spilled to the outside, then Jeff Hardy then was beating CM Punk onto one of the announce tables, and then Jeff Hardy then hit a swanton bomb from the ladder onto CM Punk through the announce table. Then after that, it just looked like both guys were just so hurt. It looked like they were unable to continue. So so the referees were calling EMTs down, and as they were loading Jeff Hardy onto a stretcher, it showed CM Punk like slowly crawling back into the ring and climbing the ladder to try to get to the title belt. But then Jeff Hardy then got off the stretcher and fought CM Punk. But then eventually and as they both were like on top of the ladder, CM Punk ended up nailing Jeff Hardy, I think, with a kick or something, and then Jeff Hardy then eventually got knocked off of the ladder, and then that CM Punk was unable to retrieve the World Heavyweight title belt, and CM Punk won. So CM Punk became World Heavyweight Champion again. So and then but then as CM Punk was celebrating, as he was just standing over Jeff Hardy's unconscious body, then we then heard like the gong and the lights went out. Then when the lights came on, it then showed that now the Undertaker was lying in place of Jeff Hardy, and then this was like the return of the Undertaker. The Undertaker, I think, was like off of WWE TV since after WrestleMania that year. So Undertaker returned right here, and then Undertaker then chokeslammed CM Punk, and this would of course lead to the rivalry between CM Punk and the Undertaker, which would carry on for the next couple of months after this. But this was just a really great match right here. One of the best SummerSlam main events of all time, and this was also when Jeff Hardy was really coming to the end of this run of his WWE career. So it was fitting to have his final pay-per-view match of this run for him in WWE be a TLC match. So just a really great match and a great main event. I would give this 4.5 stars. So overall with the show, I would probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. It really was actually a pretty good show. I mean, like I said, the opener was really good, main event was really good, the DX versus Legacy match was pretty good, and the tag title match was overall solid too. So with numerous good matches and really good matches to great matches on the show, it really is hard to really say that this is a bad SummerSlam. I know that it's really bittersweet to give that they did change the logo for the show, but looking past that and actually looking at the quality of the show, this show is actually pretty good. So if you haven't seen this SummerSlam before, I definitely do give it a recommendation. It really is worth checking out. So it really is just hard to really say that this SummerSlam really isn't good. So if you haven't seen it before, I would definitely recommend checking it out. All right. So I guess that's the best way I can put it. All right. So I guess this is all I really have to say. All right, so this is my review of SummerSlam 2009. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review, and technically now it is the day of SummerSlam. It is July 30th. So after SummerSlam does air, uh, air tonight, I will probably make a video giving my thoughts on the event. I don't know if I'm actually going to do it tonight or if I'll do it tomorrow. But sometime this weekend I'll make a video to give my thoughts on this year's SummerSlam after it airs tonight. All right. But I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.